Hey Nicotine, enjoyed that video. I'm responding not because I want to argue that the soul is separate from the body and therefore survives the death of the body. I have nothing to do with that argument. And while you didn't in your video explicitly say that the mind or our conscious experience is reducible to brain activity, I'm sure that's what you think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I wanted to present some evidence that we cannot account for everything that consciousness allows us to do in terms of the physical causes in the brain and body. Now I'm going to link to a paper by LaRock, a cognitive scientist from Oakland University, and he discusses this problem. It's called the binding problem. The paper is called Disambiguation, the Binding Problem, and the Unity of Visual Consciousness. And what the binding problem is this conundrum that neuroscientists have discovered, where a particular object in our visual field's properties, such as its color and its shape and its location in space in relation to other objects, each of these properties will be neurally represented in a different area of the brain at a different time. And yet somehow, conscious visual experience, the object is unified. All of its properties cohere into a single object. Now, what this means is that we can't just say consciousness is located in some group of neurons or another at any particular time. Consciousness isn't correlated with brain activity in so simple a fashion. Whatever unified visual experience of an object is, or a series of objects in a context, an environment, it somehow emerges and unifies these separate brain activities, separate in both space and time, into a single perceptual experience. Now, LaRock calls this a sort of formal causation, and normally when we talk about physical processes, we only want to mention efficient causes or mechanical causes. And a lot of neuroscientists want to reduce conscious experience to the brain, and therefore say that any sort of free will or autonomy on our own part is mere epiphenomenon. It's an illusion. Consciousness has no causal role to play on what the body does. Of course, LaRock is going to argue that actually consciousness is what unifies our experience of the properties of objects. And if it does that, then there may be room for it to also unify our experience as persons in a moral relationship with other persons. In other words, it may allow us to be responsible for our own personal behavior, at least to some extent. Of course, when the brain is damaged in various ways, when there's chemical imbalances, we lose some of our own personal responsibility. We become less able to control ourselves. So, I'm not arguing for any sort of total freedom, neither is LaRock. But there is this curious thing going on in the brain that we could call downward causation, rather than just bottom-up sort of causes, which would be just the physical body playing out its causative chain of events. There's this top-down causal influence created by the binding of these separate neural impulses into a single conscious experience. So we've got to somehow account for that, right? And I don't think we can by reducing consciousness to the brain. So LaRock's paper is sort of long. It's about 30 pages. Give it a read if you're interested, and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.